but I kind of think Edge is just going to win. To be honest, it's going to be anticlimactic ending, and it may be a brawl between Brodus Clay and Christian takes them both out of it, and then Edge wins through all the mess. Just to sum it up, I don't really know what else to say about it other than Randy Orton cannot lose this match. I just don't see it happening. Yeah, but I feel insulted that you're telling me that this move that has lost all of its power over the... I feel like he'll beat him with that chokeout move before he beats him with the last ride.
I'm calling it Undertaker with the Hell's Gate.
You know what? I completely almost want to agree. I want to switch mine. Because can't you see that being the ending? Like, oh, they fought so long, but he's so exhausted and he tapped out to the shitty Hell's Gate.
What if he puts him... All right, so picture this. Oh, I think I may have it. So picture this. They're fighting forever. Lots of stuff around the ring, whatever. Triple H covered in his own blood, right? They've both done their moves. You've seen pedigrees, you've seen choke slams, you've seen last rides, you've seen tombstones. Nothing is putting either man away. Undertaker goes for the Hell's Gate, middle of the ring. Triple H will not tap out, cannot reach the ropes. He passes out.
If that happens,
Stone Cold.
I will demand a refund if that happens.
Yes, sir. We promise you a great main event.
Yeah, this is classic.
Andre, the
WrestleMania!
Hulkamania
is running wild.
The world is listening.
Real Kick Radio.
How dare you, Bret Hart, blame the Generation X for your actions? Now everybody knows the Grand Wizard there, Bret Hart, is racist to the core. You saw what he did to the nation's locker room. The Generation X agrees with the nation. This country was built on the sweat of a brow of a black man, and I accept that. The Generation X accepts that. But the Grand Wizard out there and the rest of his KKK buddies don't believe that. Farouk, it was the Hart Foundation all along. Bret Hart is in denial, and he's always in denial because he's concerned about his image.
Oh yeah, and what an image that is, Hitman, with your little leather jackets. I heard your first choice for your outfits was white sheets and white hoods.
Oh, no.
But the image you didn't hear about was the image he portrayed on Jerry Springer. And the reason you didn't know it was Bret Hart was simple. He had a white sheet over his head. Is that right, Hunter?
Oh, that's definitely right.
And what else? And I heard also, did you hear what I heard? Yep, tell
While
them.
they were changing paint cans when they were spraying the room, they used the N-word. Oh yeah, the N-word.
Break it down! They generate into something fool. We just got tired of doing what you told us to do. That's a break, boy. Yeah, that's a break, little man. Break it down.
Holy shit!
You can tell me what to do.
Holy shit!
Know who you're talking to.
Holy shit! Danny Richardson, it is the whole fucking show.
What is going on, Papa Scampoli?
I have missed you. It's been such an eventful weekend. I am Kevin Scampoli. I am also known in a few circles, typically found on the internet in 1998 to 1999, and then again in 2006. I was known as Ivan Cage. I was a bit of a role player. I was kind of an E-Fed champion. If you need to know, I was a 3-time IW champion, the modern day icon. Yeah, it all precedes me, and I am joined by the only E-Fed wrestler to not have a real name.
Not a real name. You mean the best name of all time?
No.
I'm Danny Richardson. I'm Primetime, and I don't tout my E-Fed stats. So I throw out inside jokes from my real wrestling career, all 2 matches of it. I am the guy that tricked Thunder J into turning on his team to help out mine.
Why do you do this? Why don't you just say Primetime so we can get confused, so we can wait for the rest? Your name should have 3 dots at the end.
You're just so jealous that you didn't think of it first.
How does an announcer even say your name? Like, they go, when Alberto, no, that's a bad one because it's a Mexican guy doing the Alberto Del Rio. When it's Triple H, they're like, the game, Triple H. They don't go, the game. With you, it's prime time.
But you act like when they announce The Rock that they go, The Rock. It's the same thing.
I'm sick of your go-to name excuse being The Rock, because The Rock is a shortening of his name. He takes Rocky and makes it The Rock. It sucks, but he made it good. That's talent. You said, my name's Danny Richardson, but somebody else is Primetime something something. So
mine was short for something.
Oh, short for the full name? Which you should.
Yeah, no, my given birth name was Primus Timus.
Shut your fucking mouth with this bullshit. I will not accept. How can I manage you if I
I'm
can't
sorry
even trust
you don't know my character's backstory.
I want to be your manager bad, but you don't even enable me. You don't even let me in. You drop these silly jokes, and then we're back to the beginning. Danny Richardson.
What's going on?
We had a bet this week on WrestleMania. We ran down the card last week. It was so exciting. And before we get into the bet, WrestleMania, give me a 18-word summary of your opinion on WrestleMania.
I love when you drop things on me. Like I'm supposed to right now, off the top of my head, count 18 words.
Well, you already had 20, so let's just go with 2 words.
2 words. Oh, geez. I'll go short though, but I'll say better than the internet gives it credit for.
I don't even know how many words I'm supposed to do. No, I think I'm going to say second greatest WrestleMania ever. Yes, I said it. I think it's because you and I took a 10 years off of wrestling, which I brag about. Like it's something
you didn't miss too much.
I don't think so, because I think I summed it all up in 2 weeks. I downloaded a bunch of stuff and I'm caught up. Triple H won a bunch of matches. Great. But coming back, I loved Elimination Chamber. It got me back into wrestling. And this WrestleMania, and this is like my way of saying it was good, it's on the level of Elimination Chamber.
So the WrestleMania equals Elimination Chamber, and that's good enough for you.
Hey, they pulled it off this year. What can I say?
I don't know. A lot of people disagree with you right now. There's a lot of negative reviews. I mean, I've seen some comments. People talk about the rating for Raw, and I've even people say, "Oh, you know what? They would have got a better rating, but WrestleMania drove away viewers." Like people are taking it pretty extreme.
I might just be a sucker for the set. That set was gorgeous, and just the big WrestleMania letters was enough. I started downloading every font possible, trying to find it so we could steal that font. But no, I think the card was weak. I was a little skeptical going in. We talked about it last week, and I felt like Triple H Taker was the match. It was going to be the huge selling point. Obviously, The Rock was as well. But I didn't see The Rock didn't sell me because he's just a host. And if I knew he was, I'm going to stop that. We'll get to the main event. That was my only problem with the card. But the card itself looked weak. And I think they pulled off an incredible show with the card that they kind of had they misstepped a little bit with, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I felt and I knew going into it that I agreed the card looked weak, but I liked it because it felt like that they were knowingly going to take that hit of we're not putting out the best card possible, because it seemed more important to them that they were building for the future. And I like that they were willing to take that chance and build for the future. And I felt like it made it feel special in its own way. It didn't feel like a typical WrestleMania. And somehow that worked for me. It gave it a new, fresh feel for me.
I love the big stadiums. Can I be the last person to say that on Earth? I think everyone's already said this. But the big stadium feel really gives it the WrestleMania, I'm going to say a word here, oomph. It gives it that big gold belt appeal of championship status. But I'm just going to act like that little speech I gave never happened, because Danny Richardson, maybe I loved WrestleMania because I think I watched a different WrestleMania than the rest of the world. Because first of all, we had our bet. Second of all, I missed WrestleMania because my baby was born during WrestleMania.
That's pretty selfish if you ask me.
It was, it kind of annoyed me. 9:14 Eastern time, but 6:14 my time. So I missed WrestleMania. The goal was I was going to be in the hospital a couple days, read nothing. You were so helpful. You held back every opinion that you had. You didn't even tweet anything. You didn't put anything on Facebook. You didn't message me. And I am grateful for that, Danny Richardson.
Yeah, I think I posted one tweet during the whole time. And even then it was vague that, you wouldn't have known what it referenced.
What was the tweet? I'm kind of curious now.
I mentioned a certain time frame that people needed to go back and listen to last week's show.
I immediately thought, okay, the Hell's Gate, but whatever. So I even thought that before watching. But was that what it was?
Yes, that was a reference to what it was.
You didn't. For the record, you made like 4 predictions, and that wasn't the one you went with. But okay.
Well, I think I said it, and I think you agreed with it at one point, but it was all, neither one of us really believed it.
I thought it was brilliant. I really saw them going that way, and I was hoping you'd sway your opinion so I could jump on your back like I agreed. But now both of us are left as idiots who didn't really think it would happen.
Yeah, not only did we not actually choose it, we mocked the idea of it ever happening. Like, what a ridiculous idea. You'd be so retarded if you actually picked that as the finish.
Didn't I say I wouldn't watch again? I said something ridiculous if that happened.
You probably went pretty extreme with your hatred of that idea.
When really I loved it. So what was this? Where was this hatred coming from? I loved the idea.
You had no way to picture that it was going to go down the way that it did.
Oh, if you watch the match, they showed it a fucking mile away. So, but anyways, here's the thing. Danny Richardson. I watched a different WrestleMania because I watched it late and we had our bet. So you didn't spoil anything, thank you. However, it's like I was looking for spoilers. So I'm laying in the hospital, middle of the night. Somehow, let me ask you something. If you don't want to be spoiled on WrestleMania, would you open a pro wrestling app on the iPhone and read the latest news?
Yeah, I couldn't believe when I read from you that you did that. That's I don't know. It's hard because you don't think about it, and it's something you do out of just habit. I don't really know what your excuse for doing it is at this point.
Yeah, because I pick up my phone. And
I get paranoid. I don't talk to people. I don't go on Facebook because I don't know if suddenly one of my friends is going to come out of the closet about being a wrestling fan, and they're going to write something that I don't want to see.
Yeah, like, oh man, I haven't watched this in 10 years. Edge is still winning title matches.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what you always hear. Whenever you ask someone if they're a wrestling fan, they're like, I was. Well, come on. Have some dignity. Come back in. It's better than ever. I'm talking.
Yeah, no, I've owned up to it a lot more lately. I think you brought me out of my wrestling closet. And now when it's not much of a secret, obviously, with the show. And then I get people like secretly at work. I had one of the guys at work today. We're in the middle of a staff meeting, and he leans over and he's like, so what did you think of that Undertaker match? Just people are slowly coming out of the closet to me.
And the fact that he said Undertaker match, let's say you hadn't seen it and you didn't want to know, that tells you he won. So I was very I didn't want you to even just say so yeah, the Undertaker match was okay. Because I would read into that okay, he said Undertaker, he won, fuck you, we're not friends. Yeah. But yeah, we need to kind of... Excuse me, I'm just vomiting. I have baby burps over here. They're contagious. So we need to join together in our new love of wrestling currently, whether it be TNA, which I'm getting into, WWE getting back into, but we also need to talk about how you hide your love as well. But wait, because Mr. Danny Richardson, I read this. The Miz beats John Cena too, and I closed it immediately. Like, fuck, and I immediately forgot I had a baby. I was so upset. The baby was in the room. I go, this is the worst fucking day.
I was going to say that's something that's like everybody would say is the best day of their life. You just ruined WrestleMania, and so it's immediately the worst day of your life.
And why wouldn't I open up Twitter a little while later to see by the same wrestling app I have has a Twitter account, and it just says, the streak continues. Oh. Spectacular. Which one? Which one?
You can't even and don't you try to trick yourself. You're like, well, maybe if I had read more, they meant Triple H's streak of beating people continues. You're like, I don't know what they're talking about. You try to convince yourself that it's not what you know it is.
Triple H's unearned streak of going over continues? Could that be what it is? And also, one door away, Jim's watching that match. I think I just spoiled it by screaming the tweet that I read. So good for him.
He has to know by now, though.
I don't think he does. But yeah, he has Twitter, so maybe. But here's the thing. We had our bet, and I picked Triple H to win, and I picked John Cena to win. I was so sure of both, and then I thought, holy shit, I'm down 2. The winner just needs 3 matches. So I watched a different WrestleMania, because I went in not knowing the order of the matches, just knowing I was down 2, and it was so exhilarating, Danny Richardson. If only the whole world could be on my side of our bet, because it started out with Edge Del Rio. I loved the ending, especially considering if Edge loses, the bet's over for me. So this is like how I'm a sports gambling addict who's going to ruin my daughter's life when she grows up by probably stealing her TV to sell it and gamble. And that's a little too specific and planned, but that's an example of that. I get excited when something of mine is on the line.
Yeah, it's weird to think how much different you got to enjoy the bet, where I had to dread it. Like, there was no build-up. I went 0-3 to start off. There was no interest. It never got good. And all I did was live with the fear of going like 0-5. and just thinking about how I was going to tell you I didn't want to do this show anymore because I didn't want to hear it. Like, all the excuses were already building in my head.
And honestly, I began, before the thing even started, I wanted to tweet, obviously Triple H isn't going to win, but I wanted to be the one guy who thought he was if he did. And so I never did. So I knew that was a loss. But the one I was really confident in was Cena. For some reason, I was sure The Rock was going to somehow help Cena win, and the opposite happened.
Yeah, and that's the way I felt it was going to go down, so I'm okay with that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you got that one right. So... yeah, going in, I knew if I lost one match, it was over. So I already was psyched for the matches on an individual level, but now it meant something in the context of my life. My money was on the line. I could get a free shirt, which I think I picked out. I'll let you know what it is.
I hope it's one of those $3 shirts that are on sale.
Yeah, it's a Survivor Series 4XL clearance shirt. I need 2 of them. So, but we have 2 left. But yeah, that match... let's just talk about the matches as we go through. I personally love the idea that they opened with the World Heavyweight title match because part of me thinks it was obvious that Edge was just going to win and it was going to be a nothing match, which, by the way, I said would happen last week. We were discussing what we wanted to happen with Christian, maybe turning on Edge, starting a feud, something exciting anywhere there. Yet I knew that this was just going to be Edge Jericho from, what was it, last year or the year before?
Yeah, you did say that.
And it was just going to be some sort of, like the World Heavyweight title just kind of gets a nothing match. All that build up for nothing on the Del Rio side might lead to something later, but not in the whole WrestleMania Destiny context.
Yeah, I don't really understand what they were doing with him when they let him win the Royal Rumble and they book him as the guy that's winning, was essentially the largest Royal Rumble in history. You let him go over 40 guys and... then you build him up for all this time, and then it really doesn't really pay off to anything. They even do the swerve of the last couple of weeks where they have him losing to Christian, I think twice.
Yeah. And
it makes you think that, okay, well, if he can't beat Christian, how's he going to beat Edge? So to me, though, that told me that they were setting him up for the win, and that, came with built-in storylines. You had an automatic Edge rematch. You automatically had Christian as a number 1 contender built in. And then they didn't go with any of that. So I don't know what point in time they decided to go with what you were thinking and just make it a nothing match that nobody cared about.
See, because you got to look at WrestleMania. They build it up as the biggest thing that it's hard to look at it as the middle of some storylines, which it obviously is here. Because now we leave WrestleMania with, I have a whole new fucking respect for Alberto Del Rio. When he won the Royal Rumble, me and my love, mother of my child, Kristen, who had no idea what wrestling was until we watched it. We're both equally disgusted when this guy won. She didn't even know who he was. So she hated him because she's supposed to hate him. He's a bad guy. I hated him because he's just this fucking Mexican who fought with Ray. I didn't really even pay attention to that feud. I just remember he first came and started, and I go, this guy's going nowhere. Then, I swear to God, like 2 weeks later, this isn't his exact quote, I love that scarf thing he wears. It's a towel or something. But no, I called it a towel, but it's a scarf. I said, wow, I love that towel. And then another quote from her, she's just like, I'm starting to like Del Rio. Why? Why would we turn around on him? They did something right here. And Del Rio I think he's a very powerful character with the best smile. He's so happy to be who he is. And I didn't like the whole crying to his car bit. And I don't really like the entrance in a car like Primetime loves so much. That's your SmackDown versus Raw thing. But I think we come out of WrestleMania now he's legitimate, don't you think?
Yeah, I look at him a lot differently, even with the loss. I mean, obviously the win would have helped, but even with the loss, I mean, he carried himself in a decent match. He stayed in the picture, and I think if they keep him in that picture, maybe it helps save him a little bit. Maybe they delay his potential title run that is going to come down the road, and maybe you avoid him going the route of a Sheamus. Maybe they're going to spend a little more time investing in him so that they'll back him up when it's his time to run with it.
He has so much potential. He might be my top 5 favorite wrestler ever. He's number 5. But,
is he number 5 now?
But before we move on, can you just tell me why Primetime comes out in JBL's car in SmackDown versus Raw? Why is it that he has, Primetime, a JBL limo with the same Texas Longhorn horns on the front? What's with that?
Is there a regular limo I can use in my entrance on that game?
No. So what you do is you don't use a limo because it's JBL's.
But see, that wouldn't be staying true to the real Primetime.
When you wrestled your 2 matches, how many of them had a limo?
One of them.
Fuck you. See,
the second one did.
as your manager, I happen to know that's not true. But with
That's
Christian,
absolutely true.
where do you think Christian's going from here? What? Because he's still just playing Edge's best friend. You just look at him and think Edge's friend. Or if you check the internet, everyone thinks of him as the guy who should be Edge. And then once Christian's champion, we'll hate him. But where is Christian going from here?
I don't know. Didn't it seem like if he was going to be so involved in WrestleMania, as far as the world title match, it seemed like they had to have a purpose for him. There had to be a plan, and he didn't really do anything. All he was there was to counter Brodus Clay. He didn't serve really a purpose. You could have just easily removed those two guys from ringside, and it would have been the exact same match.
And also,
so I don't know why they had him booked in there, and I don't know why they didn't pull the trigger on him with something. And I don't know if they're going to.
there's something about hype that I get wrapped up in it. I was kind of thinking, put him in the match, make him win the title. But honestly, and this, I don't know if anyone can legitimately disagree with me on this. I don't think Christian is a fucking main eventer. Am I wrong here?
I think he can be. I don't know if he's gonna be able to fit into the WWE style of being a main eventer. I don't know if the writers are gonna push him if they're gonna like him. I don't think his mic skills are as good as the general public wants to believe they are. Like, he's good, but I don't think you're never going to put him on the level of, and I'm not even going to go Austin Rock. You're not going to put him on the level of
Jericho?
Of Triple H. You're not going to put him on the level of Randy Orton, CM Punk. These
no.
are all other guys that are at that main event level right now and would blow him away on the mic. Like, who does he stand a chance against?
Away from even the mic, I don't think his in-ring talent is all that exciting. And I'm talking as a guy who managed 2 matches. Now, I made all that up. But the best thing about him is his song. When it comes on, I get psyched. I start hitting my own chest. I'm the biggest Christian fan. Then it comes out, and I'm like, man, I wish he had long hair, but he looks stupid with long hair. So that's where I stand on Christian. I wish he still had long hair, but he looks stupid with long hair. That's my Christian.
Well, I think with long hair, it made him look even smaller, though. So I don't know which is the better version of Christian. Did you get to see him in TNA at all?
I didn't. And that's one of the... I didn't, but it also fuels my opinion on how TNA takes a WWE mid-carder, and they're a champion just for signing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. I was going to say that if you did see that time, it might actually help the way you look at Christian because he was world champion there and in the main event picture for a long time. So you kind of start doing that thing that ECW fans used to do, where they'd see a guy be a champion in ECW and you couldn't understand why they didn't make it anywhere else. It's the whole big fish, little pond thing where like they make it there because it's easier. The level of talent is less. The crowds are smaller, so it's easier to get over whoever you want. But I think it helps the way I see Christian. It's not totally persuaded me. I'm never gonna buy him as a main eventer unless they change something about him.
I guarantee if I get his TNA DVD, which I've seen, I will love him. I'll be the biggest fan because Matt Hardy's never even won a belt over there. And I'm like, why isn't he WWE champion? Give him a spinner title replica at the very least. And you hate the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, with a passion.
I don't get that. And we're not going to talk about it again because we always seem to, and then I get confused and forget why it started. I'll just say I don't understand it.
We'll get to it one of these days.
They need a limo. They need more. They need matching limos, and they need to come out from opposite edges of the entrance.
I'll tell you what, if the Hardys came out to a limo, I'd stop.
The ending of this Edge Alberto Del Rio match was so perfect for how into it I was. When he had Edge down and he was trying to pull him into the cross arm breaker, but Edge was holding it with like one finger, I was, for one, I hadn't slept in like 27 hours from the baby, but I was like on the edge of my laying down. I could not believe, I was like, please don't get it on. How's he going to get out of this?
Well, I'm so glad that, because when you kept saying that the ending was great, you had me nervous because the part in the match I enjoyed. I actually hated what they did with the car afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
I felt it was an obvious time killer. It added nothing to the match or the feud. And it felt like something that would happen on SmackDown rather than what would happen at WrestleMania after a title match. It didn't fit in there, and it actually, in my opinion, brought down the match a little bit.
And it's like, Alberto Del Rio finally gets his, but he already got his. He lost to Christian twice. I'm sure he hit Edge's arm with a concerto once, but the cars don't mean as much to us as they seem to think they do. Just because I don't hate him because he has a cool car. For one, I love him. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I think he's great. But the car isn't why I like him either. It's just a nothing thing that I like the fact that he beeps it. I laugh. I think it's hilarious that he has music playing, the camera's on him, the spotlight's on him, but he's still beeping so much. The one part about it, Do you think if Edge didn't elbow drop it would be better? Because the elbow drop was, for one, he did the wrestling kicks where he bounces his leg.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, he's just being funny now. Then he elbow dropped it, and I don't know if that was supposed to be something to make the back room laugh, like a kind of like an Owen Hart type of bit where everyone's laughing, but the viewers are just like, he's beat up a car. Or if it was a serious thing, like we're supposed to be 8 years old and think that's damaging it.
It felt very Ric Flair-ish, like when he just elbow drops his coat.
I love that.
And like you're not really sure why he's doing it. You don't know if that's supposed to tell you that he's more intense. And I also liked when he took the crowbar and tried to scratch the side of the car and was having a real hard time doing that. Like the whole destroying the car didn't really go that well for him.
Plus, he has what? 1 million cars? He comes out with a new car every week. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, why am I supposed to believe that this guy that's clearly supposed to be some kind of millionaire is upset about the paint job or a window on this one car? And then the announcers try to put over there like, it's $100,000 car. Yeah, but that's not in the paint job. It could still be, a $2,000 paint job. That window is still $80. Like the window's not more expensive on a more expensive car.
How fantastic was that entrance that when he drove out? It was like he was driving out of his palatial. And didn't you kind of believe that was his house? I did for a second. I'm like, wow, he has a nice house. I had to go, wait, just a picture. He's a character. His name's not even Alberto Del Rio. Kevin, will you stop it? The scarf's cool, but the house isn't real.
Yeah, no, everything, beginning, middle, into the match, I love. Post-match, I hated. That was the only thing they killed it for.
I feel like
that, and then one after the match was over, and I realized that they blew their wad, and they didn't pull the trigger on anything. They didn't give him a title run, and they didn't do anything with Christian.
See, and that's the thing. We got to keep watching because it will happen. It has to. And if it doesn't, it'll be no sweat off my back because Christian sucks. I hate Christian now. I'm just starting that. I don't really, but I'm going to be the one guy because I know it's going to happen. Once he's champion, internet turns on him, I'm the first one.
But I'm doing what you said at the beginning, that it's hard to picture WrestleMania being the middle of the feud. It should be the end, even though it hasn't been for a while, because it's always about quickly rebounding to the next pay-per-view. And the next pay-per-view to follow WrestleMania is always a bunch of rematches.
Yeah.
So, but we never remember it. But those WrestleMania matches are, for a long time, have almost always been middle of the storylines.
Yeah.
But at the time of WrestleMania, they felt like the end. And this one didn't feel like the end. This one was clear it was still going to go, and it felt like it obviously had more to tell.
Yeah, you could tell it just existed so that when they face each other again, it'll say WrestleMania in the corner. Like, this is what started for this match. And there's something that I think that's what always made me feel cheapened by WrestleMania, why I picked SummerSlam as my pay-per-view, because it's just SummerSlam. Who cares if it's the middle? But it still has huge matches. But with this one, the Del Rio Edge, which we just apparently loved. We were just fucking saying everything possible about our Del Rio Edge opinion in his cars. I think that I liked it because it was first. Same thing, go back to that Edge and Chris Jericho match, which I seem to hate. I seem to have this grudge against. If that was the first match of the card, I would say what a solid, well-wrestled match. Great, clean ending type of thing. And it starts off the pay-per-view. Like, if this Del Rio Edge match was later, I would probably hate it because nothing happened.
So if this match was later in the night, say third or fourth, and then even halfway in the card, you think you would have liked it less?
Absolutely. I was thinking that how it's just, I'm that retarded. I'm that childish of a wrestling fan inside, where I kind of, the excitement of it was that it was first. It still was a huge deal. It's kind of like how the Elimination Chamber starts with one and ends with one. It kind of wraps up the pay-per-view in a nice bow. And I felt the world title match, then ending with WWE title, wraps up what WrestleMania should be. And then if that went later, it would be like, that's it? He just beats up his car in the middle of WrestleMania?
And that may be what they were going for, maybe because they knew how it was booked, that, it was a good, exciting match. It got people, right off the back end of the show.
Yeah.
And, maybe they were going for that bookend field, because I also didn't understand, and I think most people felt the way that why the Undertaker Triple H match wasn't at the end of the card. That should have been the main event, just as the Shawn Michaels Undertaker match.
I agree.
So maybe they were just going for that championship kind of bookend thing.
Yeah, I was very surprised that was coming up. But then I was even more excited for Miz Cena because Rock's going to be wrapped up somehow in the I don't want to talk about it yet. I have a lot to say. We'll go into that because I'm so mad but happy about some of it.
All right.
So right now at this point, you're up 2-1 on the bet. I'm like, wow, I could somehow sweep through. And the second match was Ray versus Rhodes, which I liked this match a lot as well.
Yeah, I think this match will be forgotten over time. I don't think people are going to remember how great it was because just everything else that went on the card. And this was just sort of a throwaway match. I mean, it was good, and the feud was good, but it never felt like it didn't have the same impact, building the feud as Randy Orton CM Punk, which should be essentially on the same level as this match.
I was going to say, don't you think this match will be more remembered than that one, just for how it went?
For me, it would be the way that I can remember more stuff that happened in the match for this one than I can the Randy Orton CM Punk, and I really enjoyed the Randy Orton CM Punk.
Yeah.
They even had a few good spots, but the feud and everything, the way it was built up, I feel like that Randy Orton CM Punk match, wouldn't you say that felt more important?
Oh, absolutely.
Than this one going into it?
No question. And that's also because when I watch SmackDown, it's mostly fast forwarded. I go, yeah, I know the, and this storyline kind of started and ended quick. They just kept fucking saying the same shit. Oh, his face is broken, but we get it. And then he hit Ray with his knee brace and nothing happened from it. He didn't break his face or anything. So yeah, they just it was redundant. So definitely, as far as build-up goes, this one has nothing on Punk Orton. But this match, I feel like it will be huge in the Rhodes career. Like this is, he showed himself to, at least, did he show himself to you? And I don't mean, I feel like I'm talking about penises, balls, and assholes. But you are a guy that wasn't sold on Rhodes. How do you feel about him now?
I like him a lot more in ring. I'm more interested to see what he does where he goes. I'm like to see that they drop the mask sometime soon and try to give him more of a depth to his character. But I know you haven't watched Raw as of doing the show, and he still has the mask when he appears on Raw.
Why is he
so
on Raw?
It doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon.
Can we stop with this interbrand stuff? Can we go with it or not?
I don't know why nobody acknowledges that Del Rio is on both shows every week.
I thought that was just like for WrestleMania. Fine, you gotta, it's not like there's any people who, you need to get SmackDown people on Raw. It's not like there's any people watching just SmackDown. So yeah, bring them over, go into WrestleMania. But come on, now we need to start moving on with our brands. But yeah, with Rhodes, I think they'll definitely get rid of the mask soon, or they'll play it off as like his face is healed by now. Why is he still wearing that? And he just nothing but headbutts the whole match. But I feel like he won me over with his jacket coming out. I'm that child. I swear to God, I'm like 9 years old when it comes to wrestling. I think he's great just because he had a hood on, a jacket, and he still doesn't wear knee pads. He won't give in.
Do you like that they've changed his music? That it's a darker version of his own song?
Yeah, because You're Only Smoke and Mirrors stinks. It's a diva song. On WrestleMania, I'll never get it out of my head. It's actually in my head now, and I wish you didn't bring... I try to just kind of forget it's there, let it play in the back. It's background music, but now you had to bring it up.
Yeah, no, it's definitely... Well, in SmackDown versus Raw, I think it's what you... But, yeah, there's like 5 songs they play, and that's one of them. And that one seems to come up, 3 times as much as any of the other songs on that game.
You'd think him and Drew McIntyre were champions with how many times these songs come up.
I don't know why, and I don't know why they do that. I know this is going to be a little side tangent, but... You already have all the other songs on the disc. It's not taking up more room to put them on the playlist for background music. It wouldn't kill them.
And with this match with Rhodes and Ray, I needed the win, or else the bet was over. I was going to have to find a way not to buy you a shirt. And I came home from the hospital, and Jim happened to be watching WrestleMania, and I saw him without his mask at 619. I ran out of the room, almost burst into tears. I thought that was the end. So when I watched
Jim or Cody Rhodes?
Cody Rhodes.
Oh, okay. I thought you saw Jim watching it without his mask.
Oh, no. That wouldn't. He has glasses. He wears his glasses. But yeah, Cody Rhodes getting the 619, and I thought that was it. I'm like, I didn't see anything. And I was 8. I was really 9. I started crying, and then finally watching it later, the exhilaration of defeating you in that as well, being right over you again, would just overwhelmed me.
No, and we can't go without mentioning how great was that Captain America outfit.
It's pretty cool.
I liked it. Now, Our friend, even though nobody else really knows him, but our friend Mike Steele loves this show, doesn't care for wrestling, but I think if all I ever did was show him Rey Mysterio matches where he's wearing different superhero attires, I think we could get him sucked in pretty fast.
He would love Rey. Rey Mysterio, a DVD of Rey is what would he... in the way that I'm 9 years old over the silly things like jackets, he loves superheroes. He's the same way. He'd love to see the high flying guy in his silly little outfits. And Ray, he might be number 5 on my top 5. I don't know. He's secretly creeping up the list because I've never been bored by him. And it seems like a lot of people think he's lost a lot in WWE, which surprises me. I feel like I watched old WCW pay-per-views from 98, 99, and I think the matches, for one, he doesn't have a finisher back then. Let's stop pretending the Hurricane Rana is going to beat anybody, especially when the guy's 2.5 feet tall. But I feel like that he's doing better matches now, and the moves are just... but also, I love his regular splash. I think when he just falls off the rope or does a slight jump and the way he torques his body, the splash is more exciting than a 450 splash from someone else, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think he is better career-wise in WWE than he ever was in WCW.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people overlook that. People think that they're, some people believe they're burying Rey Mysterio and that they're hurting him. But even Rey Mysterio will tell you he's doing way better here than he ever could have done in WCW. He was never going to be given the kind of run that he has been given. I just don't like to see how much he goes up and down. Like whenever they want to build him and put him in the main event or a really top tier feud, he falls back down as soon as it's over.
Oh, you meant that way. You like my funny joke? I said, well, he's a high flyer. He's going to go up and down. Huh?
You're ridiculous.
I thought that would do better than it did, so whatever.
Well, you cut out a little bit, to be fair, but I probably wouldn't have laughed either way.
I messed up a spot, and, Brock Lesnar does it at WrestleMania. People put it on every highlight film. I do it. It's quiet. It's awkward. So, yeah, I see what you're saying, and he's that player. He's a role player now. He's like Cody Rhodes needs to go over. Ray is still very legitimate, regardless of who he puts over. I mean, I still look at him as a heavyweight champion. In WCW, despite their silly giant killer bullshit, never put him on that level.
Yeah. Yeah, and in WCW, let's not forget the end of his run there. For the last couple of weeks, he didn't even have his mask. And Rey Mysterio without his mask is a silly-looking little girl, and I will never take him seriously.
Yeah, when I'm watching these old pay-per-views, I mean, it's great to see they're a better quality of in-ring action than I remember, but the storylines, and it's just cringeworthy. To watch Disco Inferno come out, then Conan come out, and somehow you're supposed to cheer for one of them instead of boo both of them. I don't know how it works. And then his best friend is little girl Ray without a mask on. Seems like he's not... What was the camouflage nonsense? But we could talk about that for a while. But this match, I think, is going to be big for Rhodes. It's memorable for me, but also just because I didn't expect much. It's just kind of expected another Ray match. And that's funny to say after I'm talking about how great he is.
I think we're not going to know how important this match was until next year's WrestleMania. And we get to see where Cody Rhodes stands on the card then. If he's fighting for something that matters more than... you broke my nose kind of thing.
Yeah.
If he's got a better storyline, it doesn't necessarily have to be for a belt, but just something that feels more important, then that's an obvious upswing from where he is now. And I feel like that meant that they did well with him throughout the year. So I don't think we're going to be able to tell right now how seriously they are behind this guy, but hopefully it turns into something for him. I'd like to see him put a little meat on himself or get some better tights.
Okay, Pat Patterson.
He looks a little ridiculous. He's pretty lanky, and I feel like if he ever fought like a real wrestler, he'd get broken in half.
All right, Jimmy Ross.
And by real wrestler, I mean the Beast Brock Lesnar.
Of course. But yeah, I'd like them to stop using, just because his name's Rhodes doesn't mean you have to rehash old Dusty Rhodes era storylines. Let's update it a little bit and give him something serious. But it was exciting. Now I'm tied with you. So it all came down to what the match we were probably, there's still Taker or Triple H, but we could be the most excited about this Orton Punk match. Two of probably the best wrestlers in the WWE, plus probably the best setup in my opinion. And to have it collide as the culmination of our bet, we're tied 2-2. And plus I said there's no way Randy Orton can lose this match. I said that last week. And I couldn't believe you went the other way. The only believable end would have been, that Punk has a new disciple type of thing, because he alludes to it on Raw going in. But it was a clean match. The ending, though, a little weak for me. I knew he was going to jump into an RKO. I did like that he walked into one, got out, held his chest like, oh, man, I'm good. Smart guy. And then he just jumps right into one, kind of to put us off the track of what's going to happen. But kind of obvious, don't you think?
Yeah, and this is another match that I'll say is better than people might remember it. because they did they were working a lot on selling Randy Orton's leg injury.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to look at it as like that took away from the match. Maybe it slowed it down. But for me, that added so much to the story. It made them tell a different kind of match. Like that was, completely different. If you'd have just gave me a regular Randy Orton CM Punk match, it would have felt like it could have been on Raw or anything else, and I wouldn't have really cared as much. But them having to wrestle this kind of match and tell a story with it, really spoke to how good they are in the ring. And it allowed for some good moments. I would have liked to seen the ending a little better. I felt like we've seen that, 100 times. That's something that, should be saved for, Evan Bourne or somebody, Dolph Ziggler coming in off the ropes and getting caught with one. I thought they could have been more creative for a finish there.
When you look at it on paper, it reads pretty well as far as it starts when he goes to punt his head and falls from his leg. They work the leg in. Then he tries to hit the quick RKO. He doesn't. I mean, that's all great so far. But yeah, the jump into the RKO, that is a CM Punk move, though, that launching clothesline. So, yeah. But never did I think he was going to hit it. So I like where they were going, but I think the ending itself fell really flat fast when it started out. So like they had you really paying attention, really wondering what's going to happen and wondering if your bet was going to go through. And then you won the bet. You started looking at T-shirts, and I think I have one. I'm thinking Danny Richardson. I'm torn between John Cena shirts because we have a new red one and we have an old purple one, and neither of them are on clearance. I mean, what's happening here?
Well, first of all, how great was the spot at the beginning with the steel steps when he whips CM Punk into him, and he hops over them and then kicks the steps back at Randy Orton's leg?
Old stuff. Seen that before. Let's talk about these T-shirts.
I've never seen that before. That was awesome. I loved it.
If I could tell you where I saw it, then you might believe me, but I swear I've seen it. So this shirt here, you can't see me in the back. All right, I'll look at them as we talk. I'll try to pick
I'm
one.
embarrassed that this is going to end up on my credit card record.
I hope it's very specific. John Cena Persevere shirt.
My luck, it's going to say it on the package when the delivery man brings it. Oh no, it'll go straight to you. That's good. I was thinking for some reason it would have to come to my house first.
Well, no, I'm sending you the package after I take the shirt out. Don't you ever think you're getting?
I'm not opening picture messages from you.
You better not. So I won the bet, and it was right there. It was greatest WrestleMania ever. And if it continued on the way it was going, this really was a fucking great pay-per-view. I don't think anybody should walk away unhappy with this WrestleMania.
No, and right there, it really sucked the wind out of WrestleMania for me. It took me a little bit to recover. I think until the end of the Undertaker match, I wasn't, right back on it. But I thought I was going to hate this WrestleMania, and a stupid bet shouldn't have mattered. But it meant a lot to me. Like, I really wanted to win that bet. I was already telling people about the Andre the Giant shirt that I had picked out.
I couldn't believe how excited you were about the bet. Like, you tweeted about it. You texted me. You're like, this is making WrestleMania all the more fun. And I was like, whatever. And
sometimes I need little things in life to keep me going.
Yeah, but then I got wrapped in, too. As soon as, I won a match and I was down 2-1, I was right on your level. And I think that's why the WrestleMania meant different things to us than a lot of other people. But what was the next match? The 8-man bullshit?
Yeah, do we care? Oh, we were wrong on that too, by the way.
Yeah, because they just needed, it was probably a time thing. They had to squash somebody, whatever. And do we even need to discuss any of this shit? Let's move right to the main event. Oh, no,
there was no Sheamus Daniel Bryan match. So
okay, whatever. I could do without it. I was really excited about it till it happened twice on Raw. So moving on from them, dark matches for the rest of their career. Now, I wish the U.S. title meant a little more still, was given a little bit more respect to be on the pay-per-view, maybe over this 8-man bullshit, but the game at the end of the day is Triple H. No, it's to get the most people on WrestleMania as possible. So if you can get those 8 guys on instead of those 2, they're both bullshit matches, then let it happen. But Undertaker Triple H, this is one that you loved.
Yeah, I almost feel like we should talk about this one last, but we could hit it in order.
Well, it's kind of... Go ahead.
Where I was watching it at, I would say there's probably 6-7 other guys that was there watching it with me. And I think I was the only one afterwards that was just in shock of how much I loved it. Like, I was trying to tell them how great this match was, and other people didn't like the finish. They didn't like the match as a whole. I mean, they didn't hate it, but they didn't love it as much as I did. And I'm having to go back and explain to them all the little intricacies, parts of it that were foreshadowed just in the promos leading up to it from weeks. There was things that you should have seen something like this happening because of how they set it up.
Yeah, and
like this match lived up to what they told you it was going to be.
well, my big complaint was the no holds barred. So I was very happy to see that they did it right. It was less of a no holds barred and more like a Hell in a Cell without a cell. Like if you say it's going to be a Hell in a Cell match, then you want them on top of it, falling off of it. But this played out like a really good in the cell match. But it was just a no holds barred match. They didn't go up the ramp. They didn't go in the crowd. It was, they used the announcer tables, weapons under the ring, weapons at ringside. And it actually, all the weapons and everything seemed to mean something. Like I loved that when Undertaker ran at him and he gave him the spine buster through the table. Like that was a spot. I'm like, where are they even going to go with this? I did not see that coming. I knew it would be a reversal of some kind, maybe a back body drop, but he hit a signature move through the table. That was pretty powerful. And it seemed like every spot in the match was like it was important. There wasn't like a wasted punch, wasted suplex. It was like, what's going to happen next? They kept you in it from start to finish, which is hard to do, especially with kind of a limited build-up. We love the Shawn Michaels stuff. But, it's hard to do, especially when today it's all about build-up and ending. But to make the match mean something is great.
Now, and I was reading today, there was an article I read, and it was a bunch of guys from a website putting together a list of the top 5 Undertaker moments of his career. Jesus. And I only saw one guy that added this match to it. So would you...
Yeah, it's on there.
This match top 5 all
it's
time?
All 5.
for Undertaker,
For Undertaker, yeah, I put it on there. But again, we're going to talk about this before we leave because there's been some drama on our YouTube page. But Undertaker's never meant much to me. He's always been the bystander to great things. He's never been a part of the great things for me. Like Mick Foley goes off the cage, Undertaker's the one with his eyes wide open. Like, oh, I always thought, what a fucking asshole! You go through the fucking table.
But there's still a moment that he was involved in, and that's all they were. That was their only criteria. But I agree, that should be more of a Mick Foley moment than it should be an Undertaker moment.
Oh, it is. And I'm sick of, why'd he even win that match? Get out of here. I always hated him. I was a little kid, probably about 9. No, I probably was about that age. 98?
Yeah, 98.
I was 12, and I still had the 9-year-old intelligence to know that this guy sucks for that, because enough of him getting the credit for just being there. But no, we'll get into that, because I'm kind of turning around on him. So this is the old me talking. You'll see how I've evolved. But yeah, I would put this on that list for me, because... I mean, him crucifying Austin comes to mind. Of course, the Shawn Michaels matches, and then this was big. And I liked the ending, probably not as much as you. Like, for me, it didn't overwhelm me because I never thought the streak was about how much punishment Undertaker could take. It was never about that. It wasn't like he's been pushed to the limit so many times. But that was my first reaction, like, this isn't what the streak means. Then I had a couple days. I had to think about this. But that is what the Undertaker character has always been. He's always been about taking punishment, and it was actually more gratifying to think of that ending, putting it in perspective like that.
Yeah, the streak itself was never about that. It was never about how much you got to beat this guy up to beat him until Shawn Michaels came around.
Yeah,
I mean, and you could say there was a few he had his match with Triple H before, where they brawled all around, and then he had kind of a brutal match with Ric Flair, but it was never anything like what it was until him and Shawn stepped it up, and it became about how many finishers can he kick out of and how much damage can you do, and he keep coming at you, and that's where they upped the bar to. That's what it's evolved into, and it does kind of fit the character more. It's probably a good thing they didn't do this a long time ago, because they would have burned it out pretty quick, and I have no idea what you do next year to follow it.
Yeah,
I don't know how you top this match. I mean, not necessarily nobody could put on a better match. I just don't know about the level of intensity, because you're going to be expecting it. Like, whoever he fights next year, it's got to be somebody good. They're going to have to throw out a top name at him. They can't go back to giving him Mark Henry or Khali or some throwaway name that he's going to beat. It's got to be somebody that you think could win.
Well, people are talking about a rematch.
They got to beat the shit out of each other.
Have you heard about people saying a rematch will happen, Triple H, Undertaker again, which would be the 3rd time? And to be honest, I fall for it every year. I'm going to think Triple H will win. You just tell me, you get somebody in front of him, you put Sin Cara in front of him, put some subtitles down there, and have him say, I will beat you at WrestleMania, and I will buy the pay-per-view, guarantee his victory, and I'll act like I never said it once it happens.
Now, we're going to delve farther into how much you like this match. So would you say best match of the night?
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. And this is surprising because the drama, let's just get into it. On the YouTube page, I a wonderful person named Strange Pete. I think he stumbled upon us through the videos, which we've been throwing up, which is the point of them. And I knew I was going to talk about this, and I didn't bring up the exact post. Let me grab it. But he was basically perturbed with us, probably mostly me, and I'm trying to watch some of my expression of opinions, make it a little clearer, because apparently I've been disrespecting both Triple H and The Undertaker a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of people listen to shows maybe like ours or read articles, and you might take a little too much into what to say, because people say stuff as fact, and we're probably just as guilty as that. We say certain things like as if it's fact, but what it comes down to, they're really just our opinions, and and that's the whole great thing about wrestling is every single person can have an opinion, and for the most part, people aren't wrong.
Right.
They just you like what you like or you don't like it, and but I mean, he was obviously you sent me to go read it, and he was obviously pretty upset, and he felt we were being disrespectful to a point.
I think I might even have deleted him. I was so upset. I was just, oh no, I couldn't have. I'm not that
they're
type
still
of person.
there.
He said, all right, where the fuck is it then? He know what happened? My response to him was, I'm a dyke. I deleted my asshole response, and he kind of probably deleted his first post because of it. But basically, I'm the worst. I'm like an internet politician. I'm like, I don't want a new person to see this, but I'll talk about it for all the new people to hear. He came off as, I don't respect The Undertaker, for one, and we said Triple H hasn't had a good match. That might be a real quote, but I think when we said that, we didn't mean he hasn't had a good match. Of course he has. It was more of a, like how you phrased it, he hasn't had any classics, because we are always trying to brainstorm what matches we should do commentaries for to get attention. Immediately you texted me, we need to do this match, this Triple H Undertaker match.
Yeah, and if I told you, let's do a Shawn Michaels match, which one do you want to do? Off the top of your head, without even trying, you could name 5, and that's being generous. You could probably name 10 Shawn Michaels matches that you could think that we could do, and people would want to watch over again, as well as hear what we have to say about it. If I tell you, let's do a Bret Hart match, you can name matches. Anyone else, Flair, Hogan, Savage, they all have those matches that were defining parts of their career. We've done them multiple times. Each other say, what's a Triple H match we should do? And we kind of struggle and we debate because, yeah, he's had a bunch of good matches, a bunch of good brawls, but there's no match that people unanimously go, oh, this match at this event, that was a classic. Like, I don't think there's any one match of Triple H's that people automatically think of. Now, the people might all agree they're great matches, but there's nothing for whatever reason about his matches that always stand out in your head.
I started naming Elimination Chamber matches. That's what Triple H's career means to us anyway. And he hasn't had one of these matches till now. This is one we said we have to do, and we will. But he falls into that category where there's some guys that are considered great, yet the only matches I feel like doing commentaries for are the ones they did with Shawn Michaels. And we can't just keep doing Shawn Michaels matches because and I said that to Strange Pete. I said, I basically said his matches with Shawn Michaels are, I don't know how I phrased it, but Shawn Michaels is the only one with good matches. So I probably said that or something. And he's like, listen how biased you sound. And I had to kind of rephrase. I on the internet, I tend to get a little angry fast. I take all text as caps and exclamation points, and then I send dick pics and anger back. So, but yeah, as far as Triple H goes, that is, I think you hit it with your sum up of him. I do like him as a heel. I love that he was able to be on top as such a fucking asshole, and whether it be behind the scenes or on screen. And he puts on okay matches, but I do kind of scratch my head when I hear people like Ric Flair say he's the best in the world right now. Like, they say that stuff about him, and I don't really see it. I see a bunch of knees, which are impressive, but are their matches any good? Not really. And with Undertaker, this was a big one. I mean, he sent me videos to watch. He wants me to respect Undertaker. And I said, that's a weird thing. Remember how you and I were discussing our childhoods, and like we always do in our free time. And I was telling you how when I was a kid, my cousin said to me, because I didn't like Stone Cold. That was my thing. I love Shawn Michaels. He took the belt. Fuck him. Fuck Stone Cold. And he goes, well, you don't like him, but you respect him, right? Like, it's real. And we go, of course. Yeah, I respect him. It was like, that word is so silly when we use it as watchers of wrestling. And it's hard because of course I respect him, but I feel like a fucking fag saying it.
Yeah, and it's weird because in what sense do you mean it when you say it? Like, are you asking me if I respect him as a person? Because I don't know shit about him. And, a lot of these guys, you could read nothing but bad things. about him. So it's like, no, I may not respect them. So I think that, like you said, it kind of gets thrown around a little too much. Do I respect their ability and work in the ring? Like, I definitely do.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, if you go looking around the internet, I mean, you're going to find people that don't respect. You could apply that to just about anybody. There's always somebody that hates someone else.
Yeah, I respect Primetime if we're talking about work in the ring. I mean, he took Primetime. He took a fucking spine buster through a table once. I couldn't believe it. He got up.
Did he?
Yeah, no, I made that up. That was the Undertaker. But Primetime came out in a limo once. It had JBL's logo on it.
I thought maybe you were just going to start quoting stuff from some of our epic SmackDown versus Raw matches, which we're going to have more of really soon here.
You told me JBL meant something on your limo. What was that again?
I don't know. I made something up time. I was like, just born a legend or something.
So gay.
I had to rationalize it.
I mean,
but the limo has meaning. It was even a white limo.
You're a racist asshole, and your character makes me sick. So,
there's video of it somewhere. I'll track it down.
But with the Undertaker, I am a fan of wrestling. I'm not in the locker room, and I don't subscribe to locker room politics and respect, and I don't care how many stories I hear about how he's the leader. If anything, that annoys me. I get annoyed by this seniority bullshit. I mean, like I said, he's a bystander for great moments. There are people based out of just moments they've had in ring. And it's about more than longevity. They should be above him in this locker room. And I get pissed off about it. So he started sending me videos like, this is Undertaker meeting his number one fan. It's a little girl. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure he's a cool guy. I mean, as a person, whatever. But as a wrestler, he is far from my favorite.
And I could sit here with any Undertaker fan, and for every point that you make, and I do like him. He's not on my top 5, but I do like him a lot. But for every reason you give me that I should like the Undertaker, I could argue that it's not even so much to do with the guy behind it. I mean, he's giving probably one of the easiest characters to play. I mean, and he's told out there to go out there and don't sell moves. Like, that's his original gimmick when he comes in. People are going to hit you, kick you. Don't barely even flinch from it. Just keep coming at them.
Right.
And it's like any other person, if they wrestled like that, would be booted out of wrestling and hated by the guys in the back.
I don't know. Goldberg, Ultimate Warrior, your guys, Brock Lesnar.
Because it's their gimmick, it becomes accepted, and it's like, so when you have guys like that, it's like maybe they don't have a certain ability, so you give them a gimmick like that. And I don't think that's what it was in his case. I think that what it was in like Ultimate Warrior and Brock Lesnar's. I think they tried to cover their limited ability with this sense of invincibility.
And Undertaker's never carried the company. Stop saying this. He was the main event champion of the least selling WrestleMania ever. That's what he's done. He's always been one of the guys, well, someone else took the company on their back and tried to survive with it, whether it be Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, The Rock. I can name people. I know wrestlers.
Yeah.
All these people were also number 5 on my top 5. But he's never carried the company. He's just kind of been there. And because he's a tall biker, he's considered this fucking Hells Angels leader in the back. And another reason why I dislike him, I don't like the American Badass character. I respect it. No, I like the evolution of Undertaker to do that. I think it was ballsy and it was successful, so great. But I hated the character because I hate guys like that. And also, that's apparently who he is in real life. And it's obvious. He's just this asshole biker. Now, the videos were cool. It was just him kind of on late night shows. He's got a great sense of humor. He was nice to the girl he met. He seems like a pretty likable guy. But it's wrestling. Yeah. I don't care how likable you are. I judge characters, matches, and he's never really had good matches for me until this one. And that's going to come off as a fucking sin to say. But Undertaker, for me, is just a fucking tired viewing. Like, his intro has never impressed me once. WrestleMania 26 was the first time I said, that's pretty cool. But every other time, we're like, fuck, why did we buy the pay-per-view? Now we got to sit here and watch Druids come out, then 3 caskets, a fat guy, and finally we get to see The Undertaker walk slower than anybody.
Well, on just a character level, and this doesn't, apply to Undertaker on a personal level, but for character aspects, how many times did we see him go through the exact same storyline? Like, and that's a blame to credit, but and overall you credit it towards the Undertaker character, which is what we're trying to defend here. But I mean, how many times did he go through feuds with guys like Kamala? I'm trying to think of some of the other, any of his things. Mark Henry, is Yokozuna, like all these guys that were just big guys. King Kong Bundy, they were just big guys that were thrown at him, and they would come in and they would beat him up, and then you have the announcers sell it as they've never seen anybody manhandle the Undertaker that way. And then he has a match and takes him out. And how many times do we have to keep building towards a casket match and then the buried alive matches? Like, it's very repetitious if you look at his career throughout the 20 plus years that he's been there.
Look at his workload. The guy is fucking years off at a time, it seems like. He's working the Howard Stern schedule of wrestling. It's I mean, I was excited for this match, and to be honest with you, I think this Carnation of the Undertaker is much. I know I like the 91 one. He actually looked kind of scary before he dyed his hair and made it a whole fun thing. But I will say, this Undertaker now, because they're overselling him so much with his streak, with his importance, and I like that he mixes in the MMA, although I know you don't like that. And I feel like he's in shape again, if that makes any sense. He never seemed in shape to me. I like this Undertaker the most, so I'm actually kind of excited to see what he's going to do for once.
But is it going to bother you if he takes more time? I mean, that guy last year took two different breaks, and made two different, big comebacks. And he just now got back, wrestled one match. And by the way the match ended, he was so beat up. I mean, you have to give him time off. So how much time do you give him off before you bring him back that doesn't hurt the credibility of the match itself? And you have to cross that line where it's like, you can't bring him too soon without him looking like he wasn't that hurt. But you can't wait too long, because it's going to feel like, oh, he was on another break, and here's another triumphant return from him.
Well, that's the problem with this character. You don't ever have to make an excuse. Oh, he's undead again. He's actually died before. You can kill this guy. He can take so much time off. Then electricity hits the stage and he's alive again. And it's such an easy thing for them to do with him. Whereas with a Triple H, you have to explain, oh, he had surgery. Here's footage of his surgery. They actually show you footage of them cutting his leg open. With The Undertaker, he was embalmed, buried. Now he's back. He's crazy. Plus, there's two of them now. He's facing Undertaker at SummerSlam. Two of them. So that character, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And because it's so absurd to begin with that this dead guy exists, you can get even more absurd, like his brother shoots electricity at the announce table. And it's believable. And now I'm getting frustrated thinking about the Undertaker. It's because it's not so much the character. He's okay, I guess. It's the respect that these people give this guy when they're a lot of 8-year-old kids are doing the same thing. If you just watch wrestling, form your own opinion, you don't have to love The Undertaker. You don't have to care that he was going to beat up Shawn Michaels if he didn't job to Bret Hart one night. I mean, who gives a fuck? If anything, you should be mad at him for that. He should not be given that backroom power. He's a wrestler. You let the inmates run the circus or whatever.
What I think Strange Pete, though, what he's trying to get at is I think he felt like we just completely didn't like The Undertaker. We thought he wasn't any good in the ring. We didn't think he was entertaining at all. And that's not the case. I just, and I'm that kid, I grew up with them, and, I'm a sucker for his matches. I always followed his storylines, but he's never going to be on my top list. I find, Shawn Michaels more interesting. I find Kurt Angle more interesting. There's a lot of different guys that I would put over Undertaker that I would rather see built into a storyline before him, because when he's in a storyline, I already know how it's going to go.
And that's why I want to believe whoever faces him at WrestleMania is going to win, because I just want him to lose. I take every accolade away. No, and regardless of whether or not you agree with us, I'd like to think that the reason you listen is for the backing up of the opinion. Holy fuck. Got baby burps. That was my Vladimir Kozlov impression. But I'd like to think that it's the backing up of the opinions, no matter how ludicrous they are, that we actually believe what we say, regardless of how ignorant it seems. We have our own backstory to every small opinion, and that's what makes it interesting for me. I don't want to hear the same. I try to listen to wrestling podcasts, and it makes me want to smother my own newborn child. It is the worst. These people, they don't even project. They just sit there. And I don't care that used to be creative control for WWE. You're not creative. That's why you're not there. You like that?
I like when it's just two guys. It's like Brian and the Phantom, and they're going to tell you why you're missing out by not watching Ring of Honor, which just got canceled. So apparently nobody was watching Ring of Honor.
If I hear one more fucking Cage in primetime, TNA is the best rant, I will fucking delete my internet. Can you do that? If I hit delete, will the internet turn off? Because I'm going to do that.
I think it's worth a shot.
So yeah, that match, best of the night. Then we move on to... Holy fuck, how awesome.
No. Oh, we can't move on yet.
Sorry, I got excited.
No. Not yet. I didn't finish asking you about how much you love this match.
All right, let's hear it.
I told you there was things about this match I was going to say that you were going to hate.
All right, primetime, what's up?
would you put this match over either of the Undertaker Shawn Michaels matches?
Maybe the first one. I really am not too big on that first match. I think the second one had everything that one did and more. I love that second match. I think that goes up against any match I've seen. And I've watched it again. I didn't like it much, but I love it. But this one, maybe I'll need to check them all out again. We should have a viewing party that no one will watch. But I'll say, just answering your question for honestly, right now, how I feel, I'd say that is better than the WrestleMania 25 match.
All right. See, now for me, and maybe it's because it just happened. It's fresh in my mind. I've only seen it once. For those other ones, I've seen multiple times. And I'm with you. I love the second Shawn Michaels Undertaker match way better.
I have my fingers on the delete button, so watch what you say here. This internet will turn off.
I think this match is just as good, if not better, than that second match. I don't know what it is. I loved how much of a story was told during. I love the story that was told, and there was a great story told through the Shawn Michaels Undertaker one. There's something about this one I liked better. It was less predictable than the Shawn Michaels one.
That's my bit. That was my Vladimir Kozlov impression.
I feel bad for saying it. I came home. I was out of town when I watched it, and I didn't share this opinion with anybody there. And I came home, and the first thing I said to my wife was, she asked me how the match was. She didn't care, but she asked, and I said, I think I liked it better than the Shawn Michaels matches. And even she gasped a little bit. And I told her, I said, I think Kevin's going to hate me for this. And people aren't loving it. I'm on the internet, and I'm just searching for somebody that loved it as much as I did. They told you ahead of time. And I know they do this a lot with like Hell in a Cells and stuff, where they told you that neither one was going to come out of this the same.
Blah, blah,
and then the way this match ends, Undertaker is just more physically beat up than we've ever seen him beat up.
Oh, come on. That was that was almost Randy Orton cheesy with him falling out of the ring. But also, that fucking wife of yours is looking for anything to get between us. Did she just start blowing you as soon as you said that? Before you even said, I think it was better than just fucking ravaging your balls. Because
no, I think she just called us queer and laughed as she walked out of the room. She doesn't understand you.
I still don't know how you married an ex-Nitro girl. But I would love that to be a rumor within the small Real Kid Radio audience that sticks with every show. He married a Nitro girl. And they start guessing. And all right, enough of that.
It was Che, the Asian one that had the nipple slip one time.
Don't you kind of feel like this match was a little bit too much of what we've already seen in the Shawn Michaels matches? I loved Triple H pedigreeing him, because when he picked him up, I thought, not this ending. He's going to reverse it. He's going to fall, make Triple H fall back, and Undertaker lands on his feet type of thing. But he actually hit it, and he yelled, "It's over." And I kind of believed, even watching the replay, I thought it was going to be a 3 count. So I loved that. But the whole kicking out of finishers, which I like at WrestleMania, don't you think they started too early? Or maybe it was kind of like, let's do the Shawn Michaels match thing.
No, I think it was a part of it. It was, and that's what I was saying is, I feel like Undertaker in this match got beat up more than they've ever let him get beat up in any other match. And, at least that's the angle they were going for, that they sold it. And so it's like, physically, you could argue he's never going to be the same. Where Triple H mentally is, gave him everything, did everything he could, and this guy kept coming at him. And so it's like Triple H is mentally never going to be the same. And I think it was a great story they told. And I mean, you mentioned that pedigree, when Triple H gives him the tombstone, that to me is the highlight of the match.
That's what I said.
No, you said the pedigree.
Oh, I'm an idiot then. Sorry. Forget what I said. I meant tombstone.
I thought you were about when he finally nailed because he nailed the third pedigree.
Oh, wait. I was going to get into that next. I don't know what the fuck. Did I really say pedigree? I meant to say when he hit the tombstone, because then that made no sense when I was talking about Undertaker reversing it. Because I was thinking when he picked him up for that tombstone, Undertaker was going to put his weight on his legs, Triple H would fall back, and, then Undertaker hits the tombstone. You know that reversal that's always done?
Yeah. And it's been a long weekend, so I'm going to let it slide this week.
Thank you.
But if this kid starts interfering with my show next week, I'm going to get a little upset with you.
I'm pretty sure I said tombstone because I was picturing the replay, and I swear I thought he was going to win in the replay because he yelled, "It's over."
Back, but you said pedigree.
So well done. But yeah, the third pedigree. Did you kind of think he was going to win with that?
When he did the third pedigree, I started swearing because that's how you called it. Oh, when we did our predictions, he nailed that third pedigree, and it was just so he even got he didn't do the, I'm going to pedigree you, and then I'm going to take 10 minutes to cover.
Yeah, he got right on.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck. I mean, that's clearly the end of the match, and it wasn't. And I was like, oh, thank God. Like, then I'm like, man, it's gonna be 4 pedigrees that puts this thing away. Like, I already start thinking, like, I just accepted that I was gonna lose this match.
How ludicrous would that have been if you lost the first 3 matches of the bet and then Triple H hits that 3rd pedigree? Because that should have been the end. And I'm so happy they put it in because they know. Like, I'm not the only one that was thinking that. For one, it happened with the Shawn Michaels match. And no, they've had 3rd pedigree scenarios where it ends a match. So even the most jaded fan, which I love to bring up, it's probably me. I'm always just talking about me, thinks that that's it. Like, you were ready to give in to me. You're going to have to buy me 2 shirts if that happened. But did you have any more questions about how much I enjoyed this silly little match?
No, I just wanted to express how much I loved it. I feel guilty for loving it as much as I did. And I need somebody else that looks at. Maybe if you give me 6 months, maybe a year or 2, I'll look back at this match and I won't like it as much. It could be because it's still fresh. Like, I really love the Undertaker Shawn Michaels matches right afterwards, and I still love them, but I'm sure I love them more the next day.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just still fresh. Something about, that Triple H tombstone, and then him beating him with the chair and, yelling at him to stay down, which they kind of did in the Shawn Michaels one.
Why didn't he pin him?
But then yelling at him, and he just said, die. He was just telling him, just die. Like, them, I don't know, there was that made me laugh, but it was also so intense at the same time.
Did you get annoyed when The Miz said stay down when he just punched John Cena after? You're like, come on. He's not going to stay down. Did you see that moment? Come on.
No, I didn't actually catch that.
It was like they were mocking the Triple H Undertaker match because Triple H is wailing at him with the chair. Then, like 20 minutes later, I swear, John Cena's getting up. Miz punches him and goes, stay down. Okay, he's not going to stay down. It's not the same moment, buddy. But
do you think that's intentional? Like not to mock it so much, but maybe to add to the character. Like, it was just a little thing to make it look like as if Miz thinks that his punches are just as good as 10 chair shots from Triple H.
I don't think it's intentional on that level, but I love it. But I think he's just such a wrestling fan. He's like just a kid that loves wrestling. He probably loved that moment. It was just still in his head. It wasn't like a conscious reference, but something that he wanted to recreate even in the first 3 minutes with a punch.
I didn't even see that moment. I mean, like, if I did, it didn't stand out to me, but I'm going to pretend it was intentional, and it makes me love The Miz that much more now.
I can't move on from Undertaker Triple H. Didn't you see that Hell's Gate coming? Like, it was the last move to do. You saw that? I loved once he had it, and he picked up that fucking sledgehammer. If I was watching that not knowing he was going to win, I would jump up and yell, fuck! Like, I was so sure that would have been it for me. Like, that's the moment I bought that pay-per-view for. Like, before the baby, well, I was going to buy it before the fucking baby was born. I had to download it illegally. But when I bought that pay-per-view, I imagined that match being as good with that type of moment where it looks like he's going to turn it around right there.
Yeah, I never, even when he put the Hell's Gate on, I never believed that's how it was going to end. Yeah. I even then I just thought I was screwed, and I thought Triple H was going to just hit him in the head with the sledgehammer, and he's already laying on top of him and would get the kind of anticlimactic pin.
What a good ending that was. The fact that I love that moment. So anyways.
But instead, he like sucked the soul out of Triple H.
Christ, you better relax. Are you that tired? Is this real again?
Yes, I love this match. I could talk about it until tomorrow if you want.
I'll watch it again. Maybe I'll enjoy it. But
we're going to do a commentary for it.
We will. And I'd love to hear you give me, like, this is what this means. His eyebrows up a little bit. He shaved one of his sideburns a little thinner. It's to show the confliction, like each a bird on his shoulder, whatever. Birds on the shoulder. Danny, you're lying. So,
and then can I point out, once again, the WrestleMania math never lies.
You are right. And that's why I knew I was wrong, because all I could think about was 18-1 and how that would never fucking happen. And I wanted to tweet that. Like, of course, WrestleMania math never lies. Yeah. But how fucking great was that Miz video before the Miz Cena match? That really made me...
I loved it.
Like, I didn't think it should have been the main event. Then as soon as that hit, I'm like, of course this is the main event. It's the title.
Yeah, and they needed something like that to help sell it. And those 2 videos, both of theirs was really good. The Cena one I found laughable at first, but then as it kept going, I fell into the Cena one too. But the Miz one was way better. The silhouette of him watching, all his videos and then playing "You Can Hate Me Now." Whoever came up with it, it was genius, and it's added another level. I can't believe how much I went from in less than a year. When he won that belt, I hated him. Silly guy. And, not for the right reasons, but because he was nowhere near ready for that belt. And, they put him in matches with Jerry Lawler, and I'm like, see, this is just another example of how he's not ready for the belt. And now I would have been upset if John Cena had walked away the champion, because Miz needs to hold that belt for a little bit longer.
And I didn't like how they made him the guy who always gets help to win. But when you think about it, it's not like I'm saying, it's pre-planned. So they can always just make him get help to win. Fine. As long as he keeps the belt, because it's clear that they like him as the champion, and it's clear that he deserves it. He is number 5 on my top 5. He's all time too. I'm not talking about this week. I'm talking about all time, number 5, The Miz. He's what am I saying? He's one of the perfect storm components that got me back into wrestling. Him being the champion is fucking great. And for them to finally play him as The Miz on Real World footage, I can't seem to find anywhere. It's probably a simple YouTube search, but I can't seem to find it. Because I remember watching it live. There's footage of him, and I don't think they showed it on that video. He's drunk.
I don't know if you got my message where about my cousin.
Yeah.
On Facebook, she changed her picture in honor of WrestleMania. She has a picture of her and The Miz from Spring Break back when he was just coming off of the Real World.
That's great.
And she met him at Spring Break in Mexico. I'll have to save the picture and send it to you.
I'm so proud of this guy. I don't know why.
But
go ahead.
She showed me, or she told me about the picture a long time ago, and I always thought it was cool then. I was like, oh, she met somebody famous. But now I'm jealous of this picture. Like, I want to Photoshop myself into this picture.
He's the coolest guy alive. He likes Opie and Anthony. He loves. He's a wrestling fan, and so it's like somehow he's a fan who pulled it off. And that's why I feel like he earned it more than anybody, because he was a fan in the spotlight. He was the Miz on the Real World, and he parlayed that into what it is now. But again, everyone knows this. Shut me up. So with the Miz, there's footage of him on the Real World, shirtless, drunk, and creeping everyone out, walking around as the Miz. It's the greatest. I need to find it, because he's just kind of like punching walls. He's pissed off. He's the Miz. And everyone's like, what an alcoholic. Get this guy out of here. And I need to see the real life Miz, who it's really just The Rock, creep out a whole household of reality superstars. I'm going to call them superstars. If you're on the Real World, you're now a superstar.
Yeah, that's all it takes for you. Now you're going to watch the Real World just to see the next champion.
Yeah, I'm scouting for the future WWE on Real World Seattle. I think they're going back. I think Lars is actually on Toughen Up this year. He has his tongue back, and he's ready to win. So with this match, one of the worst matches I've ever had to watch, I'm very upset. I was so hyped for it. The Miz is capable. I put it all on Cena, honestly. And I'm a guy who respects, there's that word again, respects Cena in ring now. I've come to love his style of wrestling, his ability to put on a match. But the combination of these tired announcers who didn't give a fuck. It's like they didn't think it should have been last either. Jim Ross sounds like he's sleeping. Jerry Lawler, I don't know where his energy is gone. When it's deep voice like this instead of high pitch guy, he doesn't give a fuck anymore. Yeah. And combine that with Cena just seeming to like, did he seem very lethargic to you, or like he didn't care, or like he was upset with what was supposed to happen or anything like that?
I don't know. I'd have to admit, I don't feel like I paid as much detail as much detail to this match as I should have, or that I did the other matches, because by this time we went through the Undertaker Triple H match.
Yeah.
So you had, house full of people all excited, and then we all had to sit through the Snooki match, which everybody took cigarette breaks and was walking around.
I fast forwarded that. I didn't even watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't. And then so it's like you came along this match. I watched the video packages. I got sucked in. But then it was like, okay, well, now we're just waiting for The Rock. Like, nothing was going to happen in this match until The Rock. Now, I was hoping that they would save it for after the match.
Yeah.
But it just, somehow you had that feel that this match wasn't going anywhere until The Rock came out. I didn't know he was going to be the cause of the outcome so blatantly, that it was all about him like that.
Yeah, it was the complete opposite of what I said was going to happen, which was great. But watch it again, please. I'm begging you, watch this match again. I'll send you the file illegally. I will sell it to you, actually, which is even more illegal. Give me $10 in PayPal. I will send you WrestleMania. But you need to watch it again, because it just feels like it was robbed of what it should have been, whether it be these. Why didn't Jim Ross give a fuck? Why didn't Jerry Lawler care? Why were they so lazy and bored with it? Why was John Cena? He fucked up the worst spot where he was.
I did see that.
That annoyed me. But even that aside, he was just like I'm not going to fall right. I'm just gonna. Oh, is it hot in here? It's like a really hot arena. They looked like they were just working all day. And Miz, I felt like, and maybe because I'm biased, seeing him as a wrestling fan, getting to wrestling, I felt like this was important for at least him. Like, this is his WrestleMania main event. It's like, I'm here. Oh my God, I'm going to put on a great match. Meanwhile, Cena's like, oh, I've been here before, but I've actually won. Oh, ain't going to happen this time. Go ahead.
Do you think there's any possibility for Cena? And I mean, it's just taking the human aspect into it. He goes into this knowing, one, he's not going to win this match, which he's used to, on the big stage. And then two, he's going to be completely overshadowed. And, knowing that, like, what they're going to do is they're going to take the championship match, which they felt was good enough to be the main event at WrestleMania, over this, really great match that we just saw.
Yeah.
They're going to take this match and they're going to end it with one of the worst finishes probably since WrestleMania 9 that we've ever seen at a WrestleMania. And it's like, I feel like if I was them going into it, I'd be annoyed already. Like, I'd be like, I can't believe they're doing it. They're giving this guy Rock everything he wants. And maybe that's not his point of view, but that's just, with the little knowledge we have, that's the way I would think of it, is this guy comes in and he gets to destroy my character. He gets everybody to mock me. He got some, new chants just for people to hate me.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't have enough of that going on already. And it's like, now he's going to come in and this guy, not even a wrestler, he's going to steal the spotlight for the world title match at WrestleMania and make it all about him.
That has to be it. When Cena's book comes out, it's going to take a book for this. I felt like what I was watching had nothing to do with what was the spectacle of WrestleMania. It had everything to do with what happened before they came out. It seemed to me like they didn't give a fuck. And that had to have been why. I hate being a conspiracy theorist, and we're probably way off. Maybe it was just the whole, like, why are we last? Undertaker, Triple H were so great. Like the Jericho Triple H match that happened lots of years ago now.
And they admitted that was a mistake then. Like, afterwards, they came forward and they were like, we realized that the championship match doesn't have to be last. So you'd have thought they learned from the mistake.
I still think this one could have been great if I don't know what it was. It was such and I know you hate the word work rate, but John Cena didn't have any. Is that the way to phrase that? Or didn't have one? He didn't have a work rate?
He didn't have a very good work rate.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's how the internet message board people that you love, I think that's how they would say.
I'm fanning myself. You saved me there. I don't want to get in bad with them because they're the only ones on my side right now. We're all elitist assholes together. But this match could have been great. Like, of course, you saw the restart coming a mile away. First, I'd like, no fucking way. They're not getting up. Then I thought, oh, yeah, The Rock hasn't come out yet. Of course, this is going to happen. Now, I loved it doesn't matter what you think at the keyboard, or not keyboard, laptop. I wish he, because it was obvious what he was thinking. I wish he just said, rather than yelling at the laptop was great, but I wish he just kind of left it alone and walked away, and we had to believe that's what he was thinking. Like, it doesn't matter what you think. I loved that, but let's say he restarts it, and then they have a legitimate match, another 15 minutes, and it maybe ends with the same type of ending, but 15 minutes later. Do you think 15 minutes of quality wrestling would fix that, or do you think that's another time constraint thing because it just ended right after?
Yeah, well, I mean, it ended. I mean, the timing hit. Not there was so much filler in the pay-per-view. It's hard to argue.
Do you think so?
Yeah, all the backstage segments.
I liked I loved that whole pay-per-view with the fast-forward Snooki match. I thought it was such a strong WrestleMania to the point that I can only put one above it, and that's WrestleMania 14. I don't think any other front-to-back WrestleMania is as good, and that's including this main event, which annoyed me. Because I feel like that could have been such a great ending to see The Miz go over at WrestleMania, whether it be from another interference. If it could have been a more subtle interference, it would have been better. But they made it all about the fucking Rock. The setup was about The Rock. Then the match is about The Rock. But
I don't know that there was an ending to that match that would have satisfied people for it going last. At least not the pacing and the style the match was going. It would have taken something more because they were just wrestling a normal match. And, neither of these two guys, or at least not them together, are going to blow you away.
Wait, are you forgetting The Miz kicking out of an FU after already getting an FU? That was great. Like, that moment sucked me back in. Like, wow, The Miz is getting a little bit of in-ring respect, which he never gets. He's the guy who can't win on his own. He's kicking out of another attitude adjustment, excuse me. And I need that Cena shirt, though. I'm looking at it. I'll let you know which one I pick. But that sucked me back in. Then Cena fucked something up again. Like, he really was... Like, until he got to do his ending with his silly little fist drop, where he runs at him, launches his shoulder. Until that moment came, he didn't give a fuck. He finally got some energy for that moment.
Yeah. Did you like the spot over the little spear thing over the barricade?
Yeah, kind of. Whatever.
I thought it was good. They said that Miz had like a legit concussion from that.
Really?
I don't know. So somehow I felt like knowing that, I mean, it's easy hindsight, but it's like maybe they shouldn't have taken that chance. Because what would have happened if he couldn't have got back up? Do you realize how shitty your WrestleMania pay-per-view just ended?
But also, now that I think about it, I kind of forgot this. I knew that I could picture the spot, but I remember watching it thinking, is that cement? Like, I was watching the fans' feet to see if they were like kind of sinking in a little bit. That was a legit fall, and it was cool from that point of view. Like, holy shit, they are going an extra whatever for WrestleMania. But then to have it end 2 minutes later because The Rock cut another yelling promo, broke a laptop, and now he's beating up the would-be champion. It was it's such an annoying end.
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything they could have done that would save that match that it would have came off better than Undertaker Triple H. And it just seems like they had to know that, the people in the back had to know that going into it. I'll never understand the logic of why the Undertaker Triple H match didn't go last, other than it was somehow more important to whoever that The Rock was the last thing of the night. But I mean, the big thing is, at WrestleMania, you want to send the fans home happy. So the good guy always goes over at the end in WrestleMania. There's only been, I think I read somewhere, this is only the second time that a heel
Triple H
walks away. Yeah, it was, Miz and then Triple H at like WrestleMania 20 or whatever with Booker T, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with the one that you said was not a main event. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and it was like these are the only times that the heel is like wins or keeps the title and is the last match of the night, because they always want a good guy. They would need a good face to go over.
I don't care about that bullshit, because The Miz, I would have been so psyched if he got over, but I was more surprised that both champions kept their belts. Like, that was what got me.
Whether Miz won or Cena won, there was nothing that was going to make it not feel anticlimactic to the rest of the night.
You stop that, because it could have been great. This match had all the potential. I mean, with the FU kick out alone, maybe if Cena kicked out of the awesome other move, which he did, they really kind of did it all. But I feel like it could have been spectacular.
Yeah, could have been great, and I'm not denying that. But would it have been better? Or would it have been a downgrade from the Triple H Undertaker match?
But that's not the title match. It's hard to argue, because I agree at heart. I really do.
That's what I'm just saying that they had to know that this match wasn't going to beat that one.
Yeah.
No matter how good it was. So I just don't understand. I don't think there was anything, the odds were against Miz and Cena for this. There was nothing they could have done that people wouldn't have still walked away. The regular fan would have still walked away feeling like that match was so much less.
Yeah, how about what I thought was going to happen? Or no, we'll leave it with Miz winning. What if he costs him the match, right? And then it ends like this. After 15 more minutes of a great match, it ends with the Miz's music playing, laying in the ring, but still he's overshadowed as The Rock is on the ramp, sweating, staring down at John Cena, who's holding his head in confusion, and they're just like looking with this intense anger as the Miz is laying down with the belt draped across him, like, oh, how did he win? But even though he won, he's still outshined by these two super. How about that?
that was your big solution?
Yeah.
Your fantasy booking is the worst.
Well, you forgot that I said there was 15 minutes of great match before it.
Yeah, but no, it wouldn't have been enough. I was really waiting. Even there, you disappointed me.
Really?
Because I thought your fantasy booking was going to go to the Miz gets up and he's mad about being overbooked and, ends up attacking The Rock from behind and beating up The Rock so that he's still shining at the end. Like, I thought you were going somewhere interesting with it, and you went almost nowhere.
It's interesting because The Miz no matter what he does, is still over. Look, he's laying down in the middle of the ring. He's got the belt draped across him. John Cena's kind of, actually, he's not standing. He's on one knee with his arm, holding himself up, holding his head. And he's
I like that detail matters.
yeah, and he's like, what song is this? Then he looks up and sees The Rock fucking sweating. Maybe a replay cuts across in the background. And he looks at him like, what the fuck? And The Rock's looking back like, yeah, he does the eyebrow. Yeah, I did it. And then The Miz is just laying there. The Miz's song is playing, though.
No, it wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have saved it.
All right, how about this?
It would have improved it, maybe, if that makes you feel better.
How about this? They're staring each other down. The Miz is laying down in the back. Oh, sorry. My bad. How about this? He's laying down. And this song's playing, right? In WrestleMania, the trademark comes up on the bottom right. And Jim Ross is like, no, it can't end like this. And then The Rock is staring down John Cena, who lost. Meanwhile, think about this. The music's too loud. Think about this. The Miz is still getting overlooked with his own song playing.
Great story and good moment.
Sorry, what were you saying?
It's still not better than the Undertaker tribute.
Come on, listen to the song. Time to get down on your knees. John Cena's on his knees. Like, oh, what happened?
All right, you would have enjoyed that with the casual fan. Would that have changed their opinion?
I think so, just because it's the same thing.
Out of your mind.
It's essentially the same thing that happened.
I'm pretty sure the casual fan would love my booking.
They would, because I'm not even really changing what happened. I would like to see Cena win because I'm a big Miz fan, but I'm a mark for the only face I've ever liked to Cena. But I think it would be better because I'm doing what the WWE did, but packaging it better. Because this Rock ending just reimbursed, if I can use that word, at midnight after I've been awake for 3 days, reimbursed my emotions that when an Attitude Era guy like The Rock or Stone Cold comes back, they're untouchable. It was like he came out, stunned everyone, and you might as well have been drinking beers as the credits rolled. If it came off like Cena's in the ring, like, what happened? I'm on my knees. I came to play. And then The Rock is on the stage doing the eyebrow. And then, get this, the big shot of the huge WrestleMania letters behind him. He's on the stage. He screwed Cena. The Miz's song is playing. The Miz is laying there with the belt draped over him, unconscious.
Reinforced was the word you were looking for.
Hey, well, I was hoping I would change your mind on the definition of words and also that ending.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there wasn't better ways to book it. I'm just saying there was no way to book it that people wouldn't have been somewhat disappointed in.
Sorry, I just had to do that. That's like the worst part of the song. Why can't I hear a hook over here? Do you like how I was playing our Miz intro and I accidentally played him talking for a second?
Yeah, that was good.
I get chest pains ever since the baby came out. I think I got a heart attack or something.
You might have. Did it catch you off guard?
It's on the right side, though. My heart's on the left side. What hurts on the right side of your chest?
Well, your heart. Maybe you have like an enlarged heart.
Maybe I'm engorged. Yeah, you gotta start breastfeeding. I'm over here squeezing
it couldn't be that microwaved pasta dinner you just ate before the show.
Dude, I'm the worst eater. I'm trying to be healthy again. I mean, I work at Domino's. Anyways, Danny Richardson.
Can I ask on the air, what size shirt do you want me to order?
Large. It would have been a small. I swear. 6 months ago, it would be a small shirt, and I would fit into it, but it's a large now. And I love it because the Cena search. I'm on a Cena search. The Cena shirts have huge logos that cover up any type of breasts I might have, and it's great. All right, I got them both open here.
I was already thinking that if I had won the bet, that I was going to have to order a shirt smaller than what I wear just so that I impressed you a little bit. I was like fuck it, I'll order a small shirt now, and then I'll just fit into it later.
Now, can I get the T-shirt package that comes with like a hat or that comes with a DVD?
No, you get one shirt.
Come on, you make so much more money than me.
And you get the 80% off.
All right, before we get into this.
And that's only temporary. I'm pretty sure they're going to let me go any day now.
Danny, there's a lot we want to talk about. Let me propose something to you.
Are we just glossing over my potential unemployment?
I stopped listening.
I tried to share a moment with you.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm trying to move on here. We had a lot to get to. We have our tag team tournament. I kind of wanted to talk about the Kurt Angle stuff, maybe, but there's a lot of topics, Danny Richardson, that the whole fucking show has to speak about. Yet this WrestleMania thing took them away last time. This time, I feel like rather than bury the true whole fucking show behind this analysis, why don't we do a second episode this week?
I like it.
All right, yeah, because
I think we got a ton of stuff to go over. Plus, you still haven't watched Raw.
Oh, I know.
So we got a ton of stuff to talk about where they're going. Because Raw, the first Raw after WrestleMania is what they're, building for the rest, for the next set of storylines. That should be the new beginning. That's day one of their new season, essentially. So, we can talk about where we think they're going from here. And we could talk about if we're sold on SummerSlam yet.
Maybe I'll get a Tough Enough shirt. Yeah. I have to watch that. So, I'm opening.
Oh, you haven't watched Tough Enough either, huh?
No, I got to set that on the DVR. I think that'll be interesting. They're taking a contender route that's a little more serious. So,
yeah.
All right. So there's a new trademark Cena shirt. There's a new Persevere shirt. Then there's the purple one that I want that my baby has, so he can wear matching shirts. Okay, let's see. I can't get the package. It's only $5 more.
How much is that total?
$29.99.
I'm going to say no way to the package.
Oh my God. Well, it's actually $32.99. How about now?
I still gotta mail my brother a check for like $30 for this stupid pay-per-view too.
You fucks. See, we were gonna get it, and then I had a baby. So, all right, I have the shirts open.
I told him that for whatever money other people didn't chip in, then we would take it and just split in half, so that way he didn't get gypped on it. And like I said, like 6-7 other guys there, not one person chipped in anything. Not for food, not for the pay-per-view, nothing. They all just showed up, sat down, ate food, drank everything, and then watched the free pay-per-view and left.
So you're going to get fired for that? Yeah, we were going to have...
No, that's separate. I just want to say fuck all those guys.
Yeah, well...
I hang out with a bunch of deadbeats.
We were going to invite all the Real Kid Radio people over from Jim and them, and well, that's it. From Jim and them to watch it, but I kind of didn't want to watch it with like Jake and them because they would just make fun of it the whole time, and I wouldn't be able to appreciate everything that was happening. Did you go through that where they were like, that was stupid, but you're thinking, that was awesome?
No, all the people that we invited over were people that we've been longtime wrestling fans, people that we've watched shows with, a couple of the guys we grew up with. Two of them were even did the wrestling with us back in the day, so that was kind of a nice little reunion too.
Did any of them manage you during your professional wrestling career?
No, I never had a manager, but I had a valet.
You need Primetime needs to be a manager, actually. So, all right, I'm looking. I got the new red John Cena shirt, which is pretty cool. I got the new Kane, Devil's Favorite Demon shirt, which is like a comic book cover, which is a little over the top because on the back it says in huge letters, the Devil's Favorite Demon. So I'm closing that one down.
As soon as you get these shirts in the mail, can we get a picture of you wearing the shirt and then make it like the next show logo after you get it?
Once I lose a little weight, I'm on the post-baby diet. So then I got the new John Cena limited edition $30 shirt, which I'm going to close because it doesn't look cool. Then I got the Never Give Up purple shirt. Then I got the Chain Gang Assault. I hate that shirt. I'm closing.
How about that Survivor Series shirt, huh?
That one's only $8.
Isn't there a hat in there somewhere that you want? Just a hat?
Are you getting SummerSlam tickets?
Am I buying them for you?
Yes, that's exactly what I meant to ask.
Now, I know you don't pay attention to anything that comes on my end of the show, but I said like a minute ago that on the next show we could talk about if we're sold on SummerSlam yet.
No, I'm sold. Why would we talk about it? I'm going. We need to go.
Well, because I'm not, but after Raw, I'm getting there. I just have
Did they bring up SummerSlam?
Financial decisions to make.
Did they bring it up?
No, but I'm probably more into wrestling because like it was a good Raw last week, a really great WrestleMania, and another good Raw.
This is the worst wrestling discussion. I didn't even see Raw, and I just yelled at you. Did they talk about SummerSlam? What wrestling fan would go, listen to that and go, did they? They'd be like, what? Shut up, you idiot.
No, of course they did.
So let's focus on the shirts before I keep sounding like a fucking 9-year-old retarded Jew. And again, now I'm making fun of the Semitics, and now we're losing even more people. So we got.
I like that you're okay with making fun of the mentally handicapped, but not the Jewish people.
What, retarded?
Yeah.
So I think I'm yelling. I'm just gonna shout at you. I'm going with the purple. Never give up.
You like the purple one?
That shirt is perfect. It's the perfect wrestling shirt.
This red one though, you'd be on the cutting. I mean, when you go sporting it at your local mall. You know, how many other kids are going to have the purple one? Tons. But how many people have the red one? You could be the first kid on your block to wear the red one.
Red's my favorite color too. Now I am 9.
You would look good in red.
Think about my contributions for the last hour. At one point, I yelled, "Did they talk about SummerSlam on Raw?"
Yeah, you were a kid at like the schoolyard the day after.
And I just
You're the kid that didn't get to stay up and watch it because it comes on too late.
Did Shawn
and
Michaels
you
win?
have to wait for like the weekend recap show.
Yeah, I couldn't even stay up for Raw. And then I go, "Red's my favorite color." So, oh fuck. Yeah, I think that you have a good point, but this purple one is like, it shows that I was a fan before everyone else, you know? Because I guess
wasn't there orange before purple?
They don't have that one anymore. Plus, it's probably on clearance. I could afford it. All right. I'm going to regret this, but red's my favorite color. Maybe you can get me the wristband set, too. I can wear that. That would be the gayest. I am going to go with the new red Persevere shirt. It's not available till the 9th, though.
Wow.
I'll take it. You know, good victory, you know?
We'll figure out the details.
But Danny Richardson, this is what's important. We do this thing every week where I burp and this quiet. No, where you take us out. Because the whole fucking show on the wholefuckingshow.info, twitter.com/fucking show podcast on YouTube, the whole fucking show on Facebook. What we do on the whole fucking show.info, every week you take us out because you seem to have a knack for limos and catchphrases. If there's ever a guy who had those things, it's you.
There's two things I know.
So prime time, I'm Kevin Scampoli. I'm Ivan Cage. I'm the modern day icon. I'm the Giant Johnson. Take us out.
All right. Well, you know, sometimes I like to force you into participating with me. So
I can cough.
Well, you've done enough of that tonight. But I'm Danny Richardson. I'm Primetime. And for all the people that just want to go online, you're going to read all the negative press about WrestleMania, and they're going to tell you how that Undertaker Triple H match wasn't as good as you know it was.
Don't do this.
All I'm telling you, don't let the wrestling message boards feed you.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we got 2 words for you. Because I'm
Did you play along so we can close the show?
I'm not shouting suck it to anybody.
No, that's not what I said.
All right, fine. What are we doing?
See, this is the problem. We have a one-way show, and it's just your way. You don't listen to me.
I'm going to mute you if you don't stop this. Take us out. That's what you do.
I don't even want to do it anymore. You ruined it. It was such a great outro, too.
What are you going to do? We are.
No, I said don't let the wrestling message boards feed you.
Feed yourself.
Weren't you supposed to swear?
No, feed your fucking self.
Someone else